this afternoon?
I am doing good. How are you? Have you recovered from South Florida yet?
I finally recovered. I have finally got some great rest over the weekend. Thank you, sir,
Good,
for asking.
good, very good, very good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. What's the weather like there?
It's still pretty nice. The morning it has a little cold chill. It's a little cool in the morning, but I think it's around. I want to say still early 70s throughout the day.
Okay. All right.
So it's
Wonderful.
pretty nice.
Wonderful. So tell the people sometimes they see us and they see us for what they see, which is what they see, but not past what they see. But just tell the people one thing that you do on your off time. They see the boss lady, the businesswoman, the preacher, the prophetess, but share with them one thing that you do that if they were to miraculously run into you, um, what is it that what they could be running into you doing that they'll be like, my goodness, I didn't even know she did that.
That's a good one. Great one. Great one. One of my hobbies that I love to do, I haven't been in some months now, but
Mhm.
go skating. I
Wow.
still like to go to adult skating, get in there. I could do a little back skate, a little two steps, not too much, but a little two step shift.
Right. Wow. 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 Well, that's definitely something that they did not know. And so, all right, cool. Well, where we
About
at today?
yourself. You gotta tell some answers about yourself as well. Let them know.
Yeah, I like to people watch.
Now I remember that one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. I remember you said that. That's a good
Yeah, I like the people watch, which sometimes gets me in trouble because the greatest place to watch people is at the mall. So then you go to the mall, and so then you start not only people watching but things watching, and so then you start shopping. So, but I like the people watching, whether it's at the airport, wherever I am, because again, people and human beings are just so unique, and everybody is so different. So I love to people watch. My wife oftentimes like, I'm ready to go. Yeah, we've been here too long, and I'm just like, I'm just enjoying this, and so yeah, I like the people watch.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that. I do that a lot in the airport when you see
Mm,
everybody like shuffling and just moving
yeah,
around so fast, and I'm looking
mm,
like, where y'all going?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And from that, sometimes you never know who you will meet watching other individuals and connecting with people and how you'll be able to help them as well. So yeah, I love to
That's
people
good.
watch. That's one of
That's
the things that I like to do.
that's
And
good. I
so
like.
yeah. So, all right, where we at today in this living your truth? Where we at today?
Where are we at today with living our truth? That I mean, it's so good. It explains living your truth. Let's
Wow.
just right in and talk about living your truth. What's behind the blessing? You just said it. Like, what do we do? The things that people cannot see. And
Mhm.
even today on my feed, I was talking about the weight that we carry. The weight that we carry as leaders. Sometimes people look at it as lights, cameras, action. They're not really paying attention to the weight that's on our shoulders of what we have, and not only just on our shoulders, the shoulders of a lot of people, mothers, fathers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of single fathers, single mothers. I've heard so many people talk about single mothers lately, but there's single fathers that's holding the weight. So what kind of weight are you holding on to? And I just want people to know that you're not alone. My weight may be different than your weight, but it doesn't mean that my weight ain't heavy.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. That's powerful. And even that you would say single fathers, because before God blessed me to marry my wife, I was a single father. I was raising both of my sons, but um, you just opened up like a whole can of everything, and just brought back such a rush of memories that even before I was able to be blessed to get my sons to live with me full time, um, I was carrying a weight of depression. So
Mm,
I was preaching depressed, I was praying depressed, I was ministering to people, but yet I was carrying such a weight of depression that many people would not have even known unless God had revealed it to them by the Spirit. Because again, I just felt like being that it takes a man to raise a man, and my depression that came in from just the separation of my sons and I, that for several years that we were not together. So when you just hit that about the weight, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and hold the conversation. I'll just jump in.
I mean, yeah, that's just so good. Just even what you said about being a single father and still preaching and teaching. But I feel like God allows us to go through that because one, we build empathy for other people. Once you've been a single father or a single mother on your own, you now have empathy for the people that are going through that same situation. So, it's this topic is so deep. I mean, we could go a number of ways with this topic, but like I said, we speak so much about the women that we so quickly forget about the single fathers. And I know some personally, a lot of single fathers personally, and that's why when so many men got on the platform today, God kept speaking to me about our men.
Congratulations.
On what?
The brothers are coming. I just
Oh,
hope
yes.
brothers are coming. I praise God for them coming. I just
Yes.
hope they're coming to shoot shots, but the brothers are coming.
I'm not playing with you.
The brothers are coming. I was excited to see so many of the brothers that were coming onto the platform on this morning, and it says something. It dispels, the lie of that women can't teach men, because women can teach men. Men can teach women. So why can't women teach men? And so, but congratulations to that and being able to reach brothers and share the word of the Lord with them.
Thank you. I received that. Thank you so much. And I didn't even think about it like that. But yeah, but just to see so many get on and some of them be transparent. I had got a couple calls with, man, thank you for saying that. Thank you for acknowledging the fact that we may be carrying a weight that's heavy and helping me understand the weight is something that probably was, God destined or given to us. Because sometimes men don't understand the conception and being able to conceive and hold birth a thing, so helping them understand that, as a woman, we get birth in something and we understand the weariness and the tiredness, but birthing and coming into a reward. So being able to, tell a man you may be birthing something and this is what it's going to feel like can make them be like, oh, okay, kind of reassure them like, okay, now I get it. Now I'm okay. I'm birthing something that I might go through the rejection. I might go through the isolation. I may go through the separation and I might be weak because in our society, we're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be, that as a man, so just being able to, go through that process. Even telling my son the other day, I had to tell him like, be in touch with how you feel, tell me how you feel. Cause he had agreed for something and he was like, I just didn't want to say the truth because I felt like everybody would be mad. And I'm like, regardless if they mad, if you respectfully tell the truth and don't, because he was just agreeing like, yeah, I want to do something that he, didn't want to do. And so once I broke it down to him, he was like, oh, I could be, I don't have to be strong. I could tell the truth. So I'm like, yeah, if you don't like it and it bothers you, then tell the truth. So, just being able to relate with our men. I know God is doing something in, lives of our women, but our men too, our men, I just want to see them. So yeah, just carrying that weight, just carrying that weight. And I think me and you backstage was talking about so many things of carrying that weight when all odds are against you, when God is giving you something and you got to go against the grain, you got to do it, even though people are saying it ain't the right way to go, so just carrying that weight. So can you get
How do you do that? How do you carry the weight when everybody is telling you you shouldn't be carrying it? Job, for instance, it says that everybody was coming to him, and even his wife. Can you imagine? That was like probably that was probably like the breaking point that said, you know what, just curse God and die.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming. So my question to you is, how do you carry weight that you have been authorized to carry when everybody else feels like you shouldn't be carrying?
That's a good one. And for me, there's times when I literally can't even say it was me. I was at weak places and I felt like God just showed up and helped me where I couldn't quit. Do you know how many times I want to quit my job, like my business? Like sometimes I just want to quit on the business. I want to quit on everybody, but it's always something, that burning desire, that's something that I cannot quit. I cannot give up. And so when I recognize it, when I identify it, and that's what I've been telling people from talking about God, is once you can identify that you're carrying a weight, once you can identify the problem or where it's coming from, there's going to be signs. I have to shift my perspective. I cannot be woe is me. So I begin to take myself out the equation, and I shift my perspective, and I begin to look at God. And to think about God is, I told him earlier, he's going to leave signs. He's going to show you evidence that you are walking the right walk, even when everybody don't understand or believe in you. So I feel like once you shift your perspective, so the first thing to do is, of course, identify it. The second thing is shift your perspective to a place of gratitude, because if you're focused, whatever you focus on, you're going to attract. If I'm focusing on the fact that I'm a single mother, woe is me, and I don't have enough, I'm going to continue to stay in that place. So when I shift my perspective, I begin to see the goodness of God. I begin to see the evidence that this is the real dream, and this is the real vision, and this is how he's going to push me through. So I definitely feel like, shifting your focus, shifting your mindset. And I know it sounds cliche, but I'm telling you, it's the truth. Literally, your perspective, shifting it and walking. Thank you, Chris. She said, amen. Like, yeah, shifting your perspective and walking the walk.
Show me what that looks like. Show me, again, even my biological mother, Pastor Catherine, who lost her husband earlier part of this year, and because weight comes in different forms. For me, it was depression from being separated from my sons. For her, it's the weight of grief. How does that look? Is there a general, and I guess one way that, as you told your son, identifying, I guess, being in touch with your feelings and being in touch with where you are possibly, because I guess no two weights are the same, but there are some similarities in how to carry it. And so how does that look to you?
And my next thing is little by little. We like embracing that grief, stop running from it and saying, oh, I'm not grieving, or no, I'm not depressed, and no, I'm not having this day where I feel weak. I have to sometimes embrace how I feel, to say that, man, and take one day at a time. Man, I made it through today. Like when I was grieving, I literally, or going through that place of depression, I literally was happy just to get through the day. And I'm like, man, if I got through today, I know I can get through tomorrow. And so I began to do little by little. And
Angela's here. I just wanted to make that announcement. All right, go ahead.
You just made her day. But, just taking it a day at a time, and embracing it. I always tell people, don't, she said it's her birthday. Don't play with her. It is a national holiday. Okay. She's been saying that forever. It is a national holiday. Praise the Lord. But taking it day by day, little by little, and just excited that I made it one more day. Okay, now I got to do it one more time. And God, I got to do it one more time. And that's been my way of getting through.
But isn't that interesting? Some people, they will see you and you'll still be made up. You still have yourself together, but they have no idea you barely even got through the day. They have no idea what it took for you to get through the day of, they have no idea the day that you have had because of the level of weight that you're carrying. One thing that when I was thinking about when you were talking was, I think that we have to become professional weightlifters. I think we have to become professional weightlifters, lift that weight, because if it stay on us, it'll smother us, it'll suffocate us, it'll kill us. And so we have to become professional weightlifters by lifting that weight and lifting it to He who lifts our head, to God. We cannot allow that weight to hold us down. And so I think, again, and I just wanted the people to hear you just speak to that. How do you get through those days? How do you get through those times where you feel like you ain't gonna be able to get through? Because that's what people want to know. They hear us give the Bible story, but then they be like, well, tell us how y'all got through it. We know how the Hebrew boys got through it, but how did Chantel, how did Devin, how did y'all get through it?
But the thing is allowing yourself to go through it. It's really like some people want to get out of it so quickly that you can't even learn from it. Like I literally sit there, God, what do I supposed to learn from it? Because we know what they say. If if you don't learn from it, you're gonna repeat it. And my thing is, I don't want to repeat this. I'd rather take the time to go through this process than I got to come back here. So each time it's always a different way. And I know that God is increasing my capacity. And just like you said, you're working out, the more you work out, the easier it becomes. So it doesn't mean that I don't meet the same obstacles that knocked me down before, but the next time I meet them, they're not that big anymore. Cause now I'm looking like, hey, I got through this other situation. This right here ain't gonna knock me down. I got through that last situation. This right here ain't it, So again, those things that used to break me, as you grow and as you mature and as you learn the lesson, you're now able to look at that thing and be like, why would I be moved by this? It didn't hurt me before.
Wait with the weight. Wait with the weight. Wait with the weight. Doing gym ministry, sometimes I people watch it. And I don't bench, but so I do. I told you I people watch. But again, they get to that point, where somebody is spotting them, and they begin to bench, or either when they're standing up and, they're benching it and lifting it above their, their shoulders or above their head. But one of the most awesome things about that, after the assignment of carrying the weight has been accomplished and they have benched it, every time I've seen those guys toss the weight set and it hit. So it's at some point you got to toss that weight off of you. At some point you got to, but again, it's like you say, you got to go through that process, that waiting. They just don't pick it up and toss it right away. They accomplish whatever that weight has been designed, and they learn, as you say, the lesson that they should be learning from that weight. So we learn from the weight that we carry.
That's good. Yeah, we definitely learn from it. Every single time is a learning experience. And I'm happy you said what you said, because, even over the weekend, I remember I told you I was tired, I was exhausted, and, I finally got some rest. But then it came to a point where, okay, this is enough rest, like, okay, Lord. And I literally, I told my friend, I said, I did the opposite of what I normally do, because, when we say we're going to start working out, we say, okay, Monday, I'm going to start. Instead of saying Monday, I literally got up Sunday morning and I began to work out. And I'm like, if I can at least just do 20 minutes was my goal. I ended up doing an hour, but my goal was like, if you just accomplish this 20 minutes, you've done enough. I had to coach myself on. I had to be my own coach. Sometimes you got who was it when God says encourage yourself? David. David. Encourage yourself. Like literally over the weekend, I had to encourage myself and be like, you know what, you finna start working out again. If you just 20 minutes, I'm proud of you. And sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for the little wins. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's you said something key, coach yourself. And we talked about it backstage when Elijah, when he was dealing with depression, and God says, I got 7,000 that have not bowed to Jezebel. So, get up from this place. And so again, he had to coach himself to get on up from that place of being depressed, because again, he was on the hit list. He was isolated. He was frustrated. He was angry. I'm standing for you, God, and nothing is happening. I'm on the run. I'm a fugitive now, and this woman is going to kill me. And the same thing she said that I did today is going to happen to me by tomorrow. But then God spoke to him, and God says, I got 7,000 more. So I think that, like you say, it starts with coaching yourself, encouraging yourself in the midst of where it's nobody, just to be able to speak the word of the Lord to yourself and say, I'm somebody, and there's somebody that's going to get me through this.
Yes. And I think it goes back, confirmation of what you said, of just throwing that thing off of you. You eventually got to just get up and throw it off of you. On top of, remember with Elijah, he had just won a victory. Right. So think about how hard that is. You just won a victory, and right after you come out that victory, you boom, you knock down. You like, wait a minute. So just think about the weight of that. Like, you excited, you go from one extreme to the next extreme. That could be a lot, mentally. But even allowing yourself, God had told him, just get some rest. Go eat. Go rest. Go lay down. But just don't stay there.
It to me, it is success. When people, when they say I want success, I want the anointing, it all equals weight. And I know next week we'll talk about the difference between the weight and then the weight of his glory. But it all really equals weight, because many people don't understand, even when you're successful, it's weighty. From the time I get up in the morning, literally, my phone is ringing. I'm receiving text messages. I'm receiving prayer requests, giving direction to people, giving instructions. And so that's weight right there. And so, people, who say, well, hey, I want to be successful. It's the law of exchange. So yes, you may exchange your broke days for days of prosperity, but there's a weight that comes with prosperity. There's a weight that comes with happiness. There's a weight that comes with anything that we do in life. There's a weight that comes with it.
And I'm going to even add to that and say, stay away from complaining. I really try my hardest not to complain, especially when it's weighty, when it's heavy. Oh man, I literally am in the place, and I was telling someone, they're like, how are you doing? And I know you've been busy, and I know you're exhausted. Like, it was almost like the enemy wanted me to feed into it. And I was like, yeah, but you know what, man, if I wasn't busy, I'd be sad. Man, if I didn't have nothing to do, I had to flip it around so that I didn't go into that. You know how people, how we want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Especially when they see you working with Archbishop Devin Owens. We keep you busy. I keep you busy. But yeah, I know I get what you're saying, but it's rewarding, because like we say, the guy in the gym that's benching, he's benching to build, or the woman that's benching, they're benching to build muscles. And there will come a time where they will throw the weights off and hit the floor, but they can't throw it off until they, as you say, you did a 1 hour on Sunday. They have to accomplish the assignment of building the muscle. And so, again, it's so rewarding, although busy, although, stretched this way, that way, and the different weights. It is rewarding at the end of the day, especially when you know how to carry it.
Oh man, I had an instant gratification. Now, y'all know I wasn't no more slimmer than doing 1 hour, but you can't tell me I walked past that mirror like I was fine.
That's what the way to do. That's what the weight defines.
Yes, that reward. That's good. The weight defines. I like that.
Yeah. The weight defines, and oftentimes we can see it before anybody else can see it, because we feel the weight of what it is that we're carrying.
That's good. So my question to you is, how, even, I know you asked me, like, how do I push through when the weight is heavy, but how do you push through? And I know you gave an example backstage of, Jay-Z having to show up anyway, when the accusations are coming and the weight is present. Like, how do you still, because most times, even for me, I want to shrink back and just hide and just let it go by. But how do you show up on top of having that weight? I heard you say earlier, like, you preached so many times and you were going through what you were going through. You were going through the depression, but you still showed up. How are you able to show up and still put up? And I don't want to say that it's fake. It's authentic, but it's like you got to show up. What helps you still show up?
I think tenacity. I think tenacity, when you start from nothing. And even that's really not true, because even when you start at the bottom, you're starting with something. You just have to know how to manage what it is you're starting with. But when you start from the beginning, and when challenges happen, you just say, well, what did I do at the beginning? I kept showing up. What do I have to lose? I don't have nothing to lose. And yeah, we were talking about Jay-Z with the accusation that was leveled against him, and now that that's kind of falling apart. But again, take who Jay-Z is. Started in the projects of Brooklyn, and now we see a man who's worth $1 billion who came from nothing. So again, for him to continue to show up, all he have to do is just reach back where he came from. And matter of fact, he did allude to that in the letter that he had released. He says, "I'm from Brooklyn. I'm the wrong one. You can't do this to me." So I can only imagine that he would be like, "No, we don't play these games over here." So I think that the way that we go through it is we keep showing up. We got to keep showing up. We have to. We can't shrink back. We can't shrink down. We can't be fearful. And that's the way that I handle things. I just keep showing up.
That's good. That's good. And you know, I love what Calethea said. You have to want it.
Mm-hmm.
Stopping is not an option. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And stopping is not an option. And for me, when I wanted to quit, I said I wanted to quit, you know, quit the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's stopping was not even an option for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
once you have that momentum and once you're going, like stopping was not an option. You know, when my why was bigger than what I was going through, when I looked at my son and I'm like, I'm what he got, you know, I got to keep going. So my why was the thing that pushed me forward, you know, even through this process of the ministry work. I always say behind the blessing, but even through the process of the ministry work, even when I got tired or I got exhausted and I felt like, okay, God, I'm tired. There was generational curses that I knew that needed to be broken in my family. You know, when I went through the healing process, I knew that I looked at my daughter and I said, you will not go through, she may go through different battles, but she was not going to go through the battle that I had. And so if I would have stopped, if I would have gave up, if I would have quit, then I would have put that weight on top of all the other weight on top of her. And so my why to continue to keep going is I wasn't going to add weight from generation to generation to generation on top of her. And so now she'll have a weight, but it won't be as heavy as all the people down my line.
You're talking so good. And I've said this before. People love success, but they hate successful people. They love success, but they hate successful people. And you just talked about your children, you know, my children. But you know, and one of the things that I love about our podcast and the ministry and even the channel of Kingdom Global Media is that the things that we talk about that is so relevant, you know, people, and I've seen people who are just nasty, even to, you know, to Sean Combs, just nasty. You know, an allegation is an allegation. You must be proven guilty in the court of law. But, you know, I've seen people talk about his children, his 5 children. Oh, they're spoiled. But yeah, but that's a man that grew up where his father was killed. His mother talked about how they struggled. And so, yeah, you just talked about, okay, it's all right for his kids to be spoiled now because he went through and endured that weight. And it's like, I've read comments, oh, I hope he gets locked away and lose everything and his kids have to feel what my kids feel. I don't think that that's the way that we should carry weight. You know, again, when we look at Jay-Z and we look at Beyonce and we look at you and we look at your children, you just said my children, there are certain weights that they will not have to carry because we carry the weight right. And so because we carry the weight right, it eliminates them from having to carry that type of weight. And again, I think you just got to keep showing up. My man, you talked about it backstage. He's my president. You know, I rocks with him, President Donald J. Trump. I tell you, Chantel, now I've been through some things in life, but I don't know how dude kept showing up. And no disrespect, it's like that's my hood respect right there. I don't know how he kept showing up through 91 indictments through the news media. I was messing with you last week when I showed you the Time magazine. Everybody before was pasting his face on there saying felon, crook, he's going to jail. But now everybody's singing his praises. But I'm like, man, if he would have stopped showing up, none of this would have, if he would have let the weight break him. And again, I don't know how he did it at 78. I don't know. I don't know if I could have carried the weight of mainstream media coming against you and everybody talking about you and you dealing with legal problems, two real assassinations. But he carried that weight and showed us how to keep showing up.
So now I want to ask you a question, and you know, I want to talk about our community. Do you think it's in all communities or it's really hard in our community that as soon as, you know, we speak on you or why her kids got that, or because you kind of say, you know, why your kids, they don't have to go through the suffering, you know, because my son was shamed about it. Oh, you gonna be successful because your mom is. Like he literally was shamed about it, that he was like, I don't want to go your direction because everybody said I'm gonna go your direction, I'm gonna succeed. I want it to be me, which is great if it's just you for yourself. But then we talk about the situations where as soon as something hits the limelight, it's our community that's ready to pull us down. You know, before it's like, I think you was talking about JC and you said it was just an accusation at that point. And how is it that in our community, as soon as you are accused of anything, it's like we're willing to believe that. Do you think it's in all communities, or do you think it's us ready to be like, oh, I knew that person wasn't pure. I knew that person wasn't right. Just think about something coming out in the limelight about me. It doesn't mean it's true, but I feel like people are so willing to believe the negative, believe the bad. It's like they want the bad to be true.
I think that now, that's a loaded conversation, Prophetess Chantel Long. I think that is it's two reasons why. I think it is some of our community, but I do think it ties into systemic racism, because I think, and cultural, I think that other skin colors have been taught to believe that the criminal justice system works. We have been taught to believe that the court of public opinion works. And so soon as somebody does something in the court of opinion, they're already guilty. I never hear a lot of Caucasian people, or I never hear a lot of Caucasian families be quick to say, give them their day in court, give them their day in court. They'll be quick to say that. Black folk will be quick to say the opposite. And the craziest thing, I heard a YouTuber podcast or saying last night, something that I had said here on our podcast and on our platform. She says, isn't it interesting that your little nephew Pookie and Buki and all them, once they do something, you just know they not guilty. But here it is, anybody else outside of your sphere, guilty, hang them. They did it. But I mean, she went through it, and we talked about that before. She says, she's an attorney. She said, I can't tell you how many mothers don't call me and say, oh, my Pookie wouldn't do that. He was the pastor adjutant. He grew up in church. But let it be somebody else, Jay-Z or Sean Combs. Oh, they did it. I think it is something that is engraved within the fabric of our community, again, to love success, but to hate successful people, and to try things in the court of public opinion, because other cultures, they'd be like, no, give them their day in court. No, let's see what, let's see what the courts say. Because again, an accusation is sometimes just that, just an accusation. And matter of fact, the Bible says, and I know you love it when we go Bible, the Bible says the devil is the accuser of the brethren. And so some accusations come from the enemy to try to discredit and to try to bring folk down and to try to cause strife and jealousy and division. So I do think it's in our community.
Yeah, and that's a good thing that you said, that the accuser of the brethren, because I was saying earlier with this weight, to piggybacking back off the weight that we carry, the same weight that I've carried, I had to bless somebody with that same weight that I was able to conquer. So it's an enemy, it's a spiritual demonic attack, and then having to say, I can't look at you in the flesh, but I got to carry the same weight, just like Mary. She carried a weight that not just freed her, but freed the world, freed the people that probably mocked her, laughed at her, talked about her. So just imagine us carrying this weight, that we still got to use it and bless the person that was ready to accuse you, that was ready to count you out. God gives you vindication, and I've been vindicated from things that I know. I'm like, now y'all know I didn't say that or talk that bad about that person or whatever the case may be. But God was like, no, I'm going to vindicate you.
But people will believe you, though. People will believe that. They will believe the worst.
Yeah. And they until God allowed it to be vindicated, and the person that said what they were saying, they were able to see that person was bluntly lying. Like God allowed it to come out. But during that weight, during us having to carry that weight, and we carrying, and I think Prophet said it too, like, I'm carrying this oil for, it ain't even for me, it's for you. That's the worst feeling ever, just to holding that weight and God humbling you and bringing you down where you got to be humble. You got to walk in humility. You got to be, I talked about Mary saying lowly servant girl, and people think because you're a leader, you're high, you feel like you're all that, but in reality, you walking as meek and kind and loving as possible, blessing people that just said something about you, and allowing that reward to also benefit them. So
weight puts a target on your back. Weight puts a target on your back, and when you say we walk, and we should, every leader should walk humbly, lowly. They should love God, but for people who don't understand it, who want this, they would not understand that weight literally puts a target on your back. You become a target of people saying all type of things about you. And as well as I know, we could have helped. It don't matter if we helped 100 people, but the 101st person that we did not help, we now become the enemy of all enemies, because we did not help them for whatever reason.
That's good, but that's what I had on that today. Just, encouraging the listeners, encouraging them to let them know they are not alone. The weight
Mhm.
that they're carrying, it doesn't
Yeah,
mean that they did something wrong. Just like you brought up Job, it doesn't mean that Job was wrong. It's just the weight that God knew that you can handle.
yeah.
God offered him
Mhm.
try Job. He
Yeah.
got this. He gonna make it through. So just knowing that you're not alone and we're all going through. We're
Yeah,
going.
someone says heavy is the head that wears the crown. Absolutely. We learned that from Jesus. They put a crown of thorns on his head. And so it's that crown is heavy. And so when people look at all the diamonds and the jewels on the crown, again, you become a target. And again, the heaviness of wearing that. And so people who want that weight, people who want it, they got to know how to carry it. So I have, as someone says, amen. So I've definitely enjoyed episode 3, The Weight You Carry. What is the YouTube channel? We need to get some more subscribers over there to subscribe to
Episode
the YouTube.
13. We are on episode 13, and
Yeah,
we please go follow KGM Kingdom Global Media. We need you to be over there on the YouTube channel. KGM is going far. We are doing great things, and I'm just super excited. We got so many more great topics to talk about.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so we are excited about that. And so again, you all go and follow KGM on YouTube. I promise you it will bless you. We got, as Prophetess Chantel said, some major things in the mix and some major things happening. And you do want to be a part of what we got. You want to be a part of the goings on, as the old people used to say. You want to be a part of the goings on. So you definitely want to be a part of it. And so go ahead and subscribe. I believe they can scan, I seen the QR code pop up. I don't know if that popped back up, but you all go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I promise you it will bless your life. All right, Prophetess Chantel, this is our day and our time is up. And you want to give the last words?
All right, you guys. And yes, it is back up, ours. Just like you said, you can scan the QR code if you're looking at it. We need you to help us to continue to educate, give you wisdom, give you advice. And thank you all for chiming in. I seen someone, Galen Farley, that's who it was. How bad do you want it? When you leave from off here and you say you want it, how bad do you want it? And I think that's the guy, Eric. Is it Eric? I can't think of his last name, but do you want it bad as you need to breathe? And that was so good for me. So how bad do you want it? And if you want it that bad, allow yourself to keep on showing up even when it's heavy. Show up and God will do the rest. All right, that's all I have, Arch. Thank you so much.